It's working again. Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airwaves with digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater on Cougar Mountain and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about our group, Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll see the exact frequencies we transmit on and the frequencies we receive on. Also, our home. So we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 140 to communicate with this net. Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before our net gets further underway. Hearing none, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. So far checked into the net by video link already is Ron, KD7QKU, N7KC Lee in Port Angeles, K9PQ Bob in Bothell, N7QO in Covington, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue, AD7NP Carlos, Clyde Hill, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else wishing to check into the net this evening? Again, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Let's start off with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, I turned my transmitter on. I'm waiting for the picture to show up. I'm waiting. No picture. Are we all set up, Bob? I turned it on earlier and I had a picture, but I don't have a picture now. I don't know what happened.
Ron, they may not match your settings right now. Did Wade have you change your settings?
No, but Wade didn't have me change my settings.
We changed some settings since after you transmitted, so we may have messed you up there.
You gotta keep us up to date on these things. Whatever. So anyway, let's see. I didn't do much as usual. You know, same old thing, same old, same old.
The Ham Club on Saturday afternoon, and well, kind of Saturday morning, really. And one of the members there wanted to borrow some money from me. He's an older fellow, my age, and he hadn't been doing too well. And so I thought he was kidding. He kind of jokes around a lot. I thought he was kind of kidding. But then I kind of ignored it, and then he asked somebody else the same thing. He never did state what he wanted the money for. He wanted $500, and he said he would be able to repay it back the first of the week because he would get a pension check, I guess. So I don't know. I didn't give him the money. I do like the guy, but I don't know if I wouldn't have. I had a, I sold a few things, and so I had a little bit of money here on hand when I bought this equipment. But I've used up my little nest egg. I might have offered him the money. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't. So let's see what else is going on. Oh, Carlos, I hear there's talk where Microsoft wants to buy TikTok. Are you going to manage TikTok if Microsoft buys it? I suppose that'll be a big deal. So anyway, I don't have too much more. I'm just going to turn it back for now. Nice to see everybody. KD7QKU. I'm afraid I didn't identify myself when I started, but back to net.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. Now let's go to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC.
N7KC. Is it working? This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Okay, well I just got the Echo link just moments ago. It showed that the computer wasn't logged on, so I restarted my phone and tried it again, and then I was able to connect up. Well, anyway, good to see you all. I'm really tired. I didn't get a nap today, and I had a hard day. So I thought I would just check in and say hello, and then see you guys down the pike. There's a meeting Saturday. I hope you all saw that note. And so forth. I posted some photos of the filter response for you folks to look at. I've not done anything to it yet, but soon. And the courier is going to make several trips in February back over to Des Moines area. I should be able to get it back to you fairly quickly. Other than that, we've had awful nice weather here. The river, the Elwha, where we get our water, is running about 730 cubic feet per second this time of the year, when it really ought to be double or triple that. So with so far 7/10 of an inch of rain in January, it's the driest January we have ever experienced here. Normally it's 4.5 to 5 inches. So I don't know, it might rain tomorrow, but I'm sure it can't make it up in just a few days left. So Dave, I'll send it back to you, and if I disappear, don't worry about it. This is N7KC Lee in Port Angeles.
7KC, thanks for that. Let's go to Bothell Bob, K9PQ.
Hey, well, good evening, everybody. So let's see, I was kind of scrambling to get things going here before the net, but I think, Ron, just to let you know, we didn't actually make changes. We were trying to correct what appeared to be a wrong setting. So I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but maybe Carlos can take another look, and maybe we'll get things going. Let's see. So I've been since I joined PBS again, mainly because of Astrid, the show Astrid that I really like. I finished the fourth season, which is all they have on PBS. The fifth season came out last November, but it hasn't made it to PBS yet. It's a French show. But there's also a really excellent series of geology in Washington called Nick on the Rocks. And they're just little 7 to 9 minute segments, shows. The entire show is just a little 7 to 9 minute thing, and really fascinating. This one was on the Potholes Coulee, which is part of that whole. It was created the same as Grand Coulee and the falls and the dry falls and all of that, from the receding glaciers. But just really interesting. That, and I saw actually another one on Mount Index. Mount Index is fascinating because the top of Mount Index is actually more ancient than the lower granite. The top is a special granite that was formed underwater and then pushed up to the surface because it was had already hardened. It was pushed up to the surface by the molten rock that became granite underneath it. So there's granite all around Mount Index. They call it, I forget what they call it. They call it the Index something, basal something. I'm not sure. Anyway, but at the top third of Mount Index is a different kind of rock, very rare kind of rock. So, okay, I will send it back and we'll check everybody else out. It's K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. And we'll get a little ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's trip on to Covington to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, I'm not receiving anything from the television repeater at all. Nothing. Don't know what to make of that, but c'est la vie. Let's see, Ron, $500. Yeah, that's kind of a lot for us retirees. As we get older, costs increase. So our have anything that's indexed to inflation or okay, Social Security does go up, but an insignificant amount. But yeah, it's kind of a lot for us retirees. So I hope whatever the fellow wanted, I hope he got it okay, and I'm glad you didn't lend him the money. Needs to fix their car or whatever. I've kind of been in. And he said, I don't know what else to say about that. Lee, if you're still in there, good to hear from you. Yeah, sorry, it sounds like there's going to be another water shortage this year again, and I know the summers can be rather rough. They'll be rationing water again, so sorry about that. But it'll pass. Bob, yeah, don't know what to say there. Let's see. I can see it's awfully cold outside here. I'm showing 34 degrees. It looks like an absolutely clear night, but it's dark out there. I see no moon whatsoever right now. Don't know if it's going to come up in a little while, or didn't pay much attention to the phase of the moon. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. Moving down the list, let's go to WU7N, Northeast Bellevue.
I heard a big, long static crash after I dropped the repeater. Let's move forward. Well, hey, the word today is rebalance. I went to a really good lecture today on financial outlook for money management, and I guess we're all supposed to rebalance as we move into the year. If you're heavy in equities, if you're conservative, lots of volatility there, especially with all the news this past week or so about Thank you so much for sending your check. I really do appreciate that. And I think, I think there's just one or two people that haven't sent it in, so that's great. I really appreciate that. I, too, was going to ask you about borrowing $500, but it's primarily for dangerous hallucinogenic drugs, and I need some alcohol to wash them down with, and I won't pay you back. Actually, the one sure way, if you have a relative that you really don't get along with, the surest way to never see him again is loan him money. So, that's always a good technique there for family management relations. Lee, my goodness, no nap. That is really pushing it there. This is when you said that soon that we would have the filter back. This is the immediate image that just jumped into my mind right there. I so appreciate all the work you're putting into this. I saw you use a Rigol signal analyzer on that, so that's really great to let us use that equipment too. Really appreciate that. Let's see. I did appreciate the pictures that you sent out on with the results of that signal analysis too. That was much appreciated. Let's see. Okay, Mount Index. I did not know that trivia about the different kinds of granite. I guess I'll file that away and no longer take it for granted. So anyway, well, I guess that's enough for this round. This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WW7N, thanks for that. Well, let's move to Clyde Hill to Carlos, 87NP.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This is 87NP, a little bit too dark today. And Ron, if you're able to transmit again, I think you were on 437, and hopefully it will work again. At the beginning of the net, we noticed that one of the channels was on the wrong frequency, but maybe with my jet lag I might have gotten the settings wrong. So it should probably work again next time you transmit. I think I've noticed that probably Wade was changing or Bob was changing the transmitter, so Jim hopefully, Bob did, so probably Jim, you might be able to see the output of the repeater now. So hopefully we'll get that working. Ron, I meant really, I think the company was trying to buy, but we're missing $500, so I don't know if you could help there. The TikTok deal might be just missing your $500. So we need to contact me after the net if you're able to provide. The whole nation and all the teenagers are really depending on you, Ron. I think that's the deal. So after a long flight, I'm able to be back. Now I just have to correct this 13.5 hours of difference on my sleep. I think I've recovered the 13 hours. It's just the last half an hour that is really making a difference now. So we hope to recover that ongoing. So not much to report. Kind of all the flights were on time. I was able to watch the nets remotely. In fact, I was able to connect over Discord on the last one. So good experience on bandwidth. While I was out, I received some more set-top boxes to play with. I received a new one, which is DVB-T2, another AliExpress special. I'll give it a try to see how this plays. I see we don't have Richard today. Let me just a minute here. I was curious to learn about Richard's experience with the card, if he had come to Washington or not, but we'll figure out on the next net. Back to net control, not much to add, and hopefully we'll get Ron back on one of the channels on his next transmission. Back to you, Dave. 87 MP here.
And today has been sort of productive. I managed to take a whole apple box full of stuff from my basement again to Goodwill and clean that out. So that was a little more space in the basement. Looking forward to that. And for all of you, this is Chinese New Year Day. So Gong Hei Fat Choi for all of you out there. Being the Chinese New Year. Let's see, the other thing I have to report, I was watching TV news tonight. There's a mid-air collision at Reagan Airport with a Black Hawk helicopter and a Bombardier 700 passenger jet, both coming into the Reagan National Airport, collided over the Potomac. Possibility of maximum of 70 lives lost. They're looking for survivors, but considering those aboard the Bombardier jet and the Black Hawk helicopter, the maximum could be 70 people. So anyway, that's what's happening in the news tonight. So with that, I'm going to send it back up to the top of the list and Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well I switched over to channel 20. Oh, I see myself now. So that one's working. Maybe the other one you say is working now too. So you were, I guess you were talking about Eastern Washington over there in the Big Lake, whatever they used to call it. Gee, many Christmas, you know, I look at YouTube all the time, and I looked at one about Greenland the other day. Oh my, I didn't realize Greenland is as big as it is. It's a pretty big place. They showed it, you know, over, if they imposed it over Europe, it covered, you know, France and Germany and maybe Spain. I mean, it's a pretty good sized chunk of ice up there. And then they talked about all the minerals and everything it has. And it talks about the, in the future, the ice is melting and they're going to, you know, be able to take the ships through the, I guess it's the Arctic, around by Greenland, and how important it is, and how China and Russia was trying to get bases there, and I don't know if the United States objected or what happened, but I think maybe Denmark got them out of there, so I don't know. But it just mostly talked about the island, showed the people. I think 15,000 people live there, and there's one canyon there, kind of like, well, I don't know if it's exactly like the Grand Canyon, but it's pretty much thawed out up from the beach, from the ocean. They were, you know, flying a drone around, I guess, and showing them the airport and everything. It was very interesting. I look at a lot of things on YouTube when I'm sitting around here bored. I usually go for a walk and then I come back, have lunch, and then that makes me sleepy, so then I go sit down and turn the TV on and I start to watch something like that. Next thing you know, I'm asleep. I think we figured out, Carlos, that Richard's driver's license was okay, that he could fly with it. We determined if it had a little flag on it, and mine had an American flag. I guess the circle with the star in it or something came later, or in other parts of the country. So anyway, I think we're all okay if we wanted to fly. Let's see, what else? Oh, loaning the guy the money, you know. I probably have the money, no problem. If he would have told me what he needed it for, I would have been more likely to loan him. He didn't say what he wanted it for. So if he needed it for medicine or something, he's been sick. He's been in the hospital. He was in the hospital for a week. Didn't really look very good. He's a couple of years younger than I am, so he's an older guy. And I know where he lives and everything. And I really enjoy visiting with him. I haven't known him very long, but he didn't say what he wanted the money for. And at first I thought he was just joking, so he jokes around a lot. And so I don't know. But one guy I noticed was a little sympathetic to him, and his name is Stefan, and he said that he wanted to talk to him before he went home. So maybe Stefan figured it out, helped him out. I don't know if he needed to pay rent. I think he rents the place where he lives. It's small, and or he needed medicine. I don't know, but he didn't say. Anyway, that's enough of that. Back to net KD7 QKU.
Okay, very good. Lee here again, Port Angeles. Oh, I wanted to get one round in just to see all the pictures and that sort of thing. It's just pretty nice. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's quite a technical leap, you know, from the legacy NTSC stuff up to this digital. Pretty amazing. And the state of the art. And, you know, I guess, and graphics too, you know, graphics today, outrageous, just simply outrageous, just quite something. Anyway, so I really don't have anything. I'm just sitting here with my eyes propped open, and I am going to hit the off button now after I go, but we'll see you guys on Saturday at the meeting. So back to you, Dave, M7KC. Lee in Port Angeles.
N7KC timeout.
PQ, Bob, what say you?
Lee was so tired he forgot to turn off the transmission. I've been so tired I've forgotten to turn off the lights. Slept through bright lights in my bedroom before. That was a long time ago, though. Let's see. Well, what say me? Lending money. Yeah, James, I actually did that. I had a roommate in my early 20s. It was while I was going to college, but we found an off-campus place. And his brother and sister moved in to just kind of hang out for a while. And he was just like, yeah, you know, just annoying, super annoying, and really like without morals. and so I knew that he was going to be a pain. When he finally, I don't know if I moved out. I'm not sure what happened, but somehow it was like we were not living in the same place anymore. But we were going to be around each other, and so he had borrowed money from me, not much, about $30 or something. And I just thought that was the best $30 I ever spent to never see him again. So I never asked him for the money, never saw him again. That is huge news. I had not heard about Microsoft having an intent to buy TikTok. That's news to me. That's an interesting one. I mean, Microsoft is no doubt looking for some way to get in on the action of the kind of social presence between YouTube, who they're trying to do their own TikTok, but it's not really working. I don't think anyone's using it. Certainly not like TikTok. And with Facebook, they're trying to stay relevant, but I think TikTok is the hot thing, and if Microsoft gets it, that will be big. Yeah, so we should all pitch in, Carlos, just to make sure Microsoft can get that job done. If you need a few bucks from me, I'll do what I can. That is really sad news about the plane crash, though. I hadn't heard about that either. I guess I've been out of touch. Yeah, just I don't know what to say about that, but it's just terrible. Ron, you've got a great picture tonight. Really, really good picture, and Carlos as well. I don't know when I'll get back on RF again. It's just so cold, but it's supposed to. We're supposed to get some rain coming up, and usually that means warmer weather. I know there's a possibility of snow, but it should be warming up a little bit, I would think. Okay, I'll send it back. K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. We've got to be careful with language. Snow is a 4-letter word. So, anyway, let's go to N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, rebalance. Yes, I heard that as well. Some of the experts think get out of equities, maybe go more into bonds or something. I don't know. I wish I knew what was the right thing to do all the time. I wouldn't have any problems then. Let's see. Family management. My goodness, loan a family member money and you'll never see them again. There's a caveat to that, though, Jim. That does not work with spouses. I'm not going to tell you how I know that, but anyway. Carlos, I assume you brought up the picture. Thank you for doing that. Welcome back. And where I am right now, the picture is very intermittent. It's like I get a picture that moves for 4 or 5 seconds, and then it's frozen for 4 or 5 seconds. Sometimes a few seconds more than that. The last time Wade was at my house, we experimented a little bit, and he had to turn up the power to the repeater in order for me to get a signal which was constantly moving. So that's just me furnishing some feedback there. Dave, yeah, I have not heard about that aircraft accident. That is terrible news. Thank you for mentioning that. I will have to, have to check the news tonight. And Ron, the problem with savings is you never know when you might need it. You 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 might even have a pet frog that has a $500 bill to a veterinarian. So, and for the benefit of whoever missed last net, Ron was speaking about someone with a pet frog who wound up with a $500 vet bill. I hope the frog is feeling better, because I'll bet the owner is not. But anyway, back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO. Let's go to WU7N, Northeast Bellevue. James.
Thank you. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. And I guess it is a new moon tonight. That means that the moon is stuck directly between the Earth and the Sun, so the far side of the moon has the illumination, so we have no illumination at all. Now, I wish I could ask Lee this. I noticed he had a little crescent on his weather station, so I don't know if that little crescent, because how would you display a new moon on a digital display? One thing I could think of is, I guess you could just put a circle instead of a full moon. But how would you do that? So maybe the little crescent means it's a new moon. Also, I've kind of wondered how the flat earthers explain a new moon. Because if the sun is up there, dancing back and forth across the galactic plane, then how would the moon ever not get light on it such that you couldn't see it from the flat plane? If anyone has an explanation for the flat earther theory of how you have a new moon, let me know. Because I can't figure that one out. The other big question of the evening is, what is the only official language of Greenland? And it's probably not the one you think it is. They actually had a referendum on this. 50,000 people speak it natively, and that's pretty much 90% of the population of Greenland, I think. So anyway, if anyone knows that, just shout out. Otherwise, next time around, I'll tell you. Bonus points if you know what it's actually called natively, and then what everybody else calls it. It's kind of like Navajo. The Navajo Indians don't speak Navajo. It's not that. At least to them, it's something different. So anyway, let's see. Oh, mid-air collision. Thank you for mentioning that. That sounds horrible. I just did a quick look, and it's all over all the news sites now. And with, of course, the usual plethora of everyone with their phone out to get all the wreckage afterwards, that does not look good at all. I hope they figure out what happened so that never happens again. It's difficult to believe anybody survived that one. Yeah, the cold weather, it's the steepest hill between myself and Westlake Sammamish, and it's always in the shade all day long. So we don't need snow. All we have to do is have ice fog, which we've had for like the past 6 mornings, and you can just ski down that hill on your feet. It's amazing, but I find it fascinating, the psychology of this. If one flake of snow falls out of the sky, everybody, there's 400 people that won't leave their home, but yet they whip down that hill as if nothing unusual is happening. And there's even one idiot, I'm a resident up here, that actually parked his car on the side of the road on the hill of death. And I'm going, does he want to claim insurance? I mean, what is the deal with that? There was an accident, 5-6 years ago. Well, it was pre-COVID, so it had to be longer than that. The time does fly by, where you can't make this up. The salting and snow truck from the city was trying to get up this hill, and that was the initial vehicle, and then there was just this chain reaction of people who saw the truck and thought, oh, the road must be clear now. And so it was all just bumper cars, but the really smart lady was my neighbor. She didn't try and get out of the car. She jumped over the top and got in the back seat and wrapped her head in a blanket and hid in the back seat, and all of the cars smashed into her, and there was bumper cars all the way down the road, and she got out without a scratch. So that was really smart thinking. I'm not sure I would have had the presence of mind to do that. That's why, Ron, I need the $500, as we discussed earlier. So anyway, I guess that's all the hot news I have. So the trivia question of the evening is what do they speak in Greenland? And bonus points if you could say what they call it. This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Back to you, Dave.
ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Next stop is Clyde Hill, Carlos, 87NP.
Listening right now to WTTG. We're now taking over to show you this. This is video from the Kennedy Center camera, and you see that explosion right there. That is the moment when this small plane apparently crashed into a helicopter.
Quite unfortunate to see that on the news. Wade was just telling me that he's fixing some issues on his side also, and Jim will be trying to work on the situation about getting a better signal out at some point. We haven't forgotten on that you are there on the fringe, and we need to get a better signal for sure. I think I heard the beep. I hope everything is still working. James, I think it's something to do with Greenland itself. So Greenlandish, greenish, Grinch, maybe. Maybe this is how they say it, Grinch. Isn't the Grinch from Greenland? I think I might just start this rumor, and this might work out. And regarding the sales, I don't think I've seen anything from the company. I think the president mentioned that, so I don't even know. Might be, might not. I have no idea. That's what's going on. And James, you haven't mentioned anything about your network providers today, so I assume that today we're in good state and there were no additional calls from any of the network providers. I was missing that note. On the other topics, I'm looking forward to have you online on RF again, Bob. Again, don't forget that. Oh, just a minute. Don't forget that we're counting your next transmission to be on the bucket truck for improved signal. So we're looking forward, and I'll be prepared with my portable setup. I'll probably go and grab Ron, and we'll do maritime transmission because we haven't done that yet. Very good. Back to net control. Dave from 87NP here in Clydeville.
Degrees now in Lake City, chilling up the evening. Well, I thought what was interesting in the news, our president seems to think that the 747 project for Air Force One is way behind schedule. So he's put Musk onto it to speed up the process to get that plane. I don't know, I think I would feel uncomfortable having Boeing speed up something to I want to fly in. So I think the slow process is a lot better in the long run than to have something speeded up for Air Force One. But anyway, it'd be interesting to see what happens or doesn't happen. So with that, I'm going to send it back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, I sent Wade a text, and he texts back, and either he's working or he has computer problems. I'm not exactly sure what he said, but he said he might join us towards the end of the net. That'd be good. So anyway, I wish Richard would have joined us. I guess I'm going to have to give him a call. He was starting a new dialysis process, and I'm wondering how it's going. He ought to be a week into it now. I hope everything's working out fine. So when I was watching that video on Greenland, they were also talking about building another canal across. It was, I would say it would be north of the existing canal in the next country. Apparently there's a small area there, and it discussed the possibility of another canal. So I never heard that before. Right offhand, I can't remember what country's above Panama there. Whether, I don't know what it is. Honduras? I don't know. I'd have to look at the map. We used to have a globe, but we don't have a globe anymore. So, and then I had a ham radio map book that they put out showing all the different areas for ham radio, and it was pretty good. It showed a lot of things on it. I like that too. But I think when I moved, I sent it to Goodwill. I don't know. I can't find half that stuff anymore. So I guess we gave it away. Let's see, something else I was going to talk about. Well, of course, I watch a lot of fishing videos, so I always I watch those. I like this one guy, Bill Dance. He's my age. We're the same age, and he always is in the sunshine. He lives down, I suppose, by Florida, because he's always fishing in the sunshine, blue skies, and he has his shorts on. So it's kind of a pleasure to watch him fish, and he relaxes and fishes, and he tells you a lot about what he's using, and it's educational. And he uses each program, he's using something different. So I really enjoy that. Well, my son sold his larger boat. He had it for sale almost a year now. About a 26-foot boat, just barely trailerable. The guy, what was it called? Sea Sport, I think it was manufactured up in Bellingham. The guy that came to get it came with the first time he came out and looked at it, he had a small vehicle. And Mike said, man, Mike has a 350 Ford pickup, and he said that it was all it could do to handle that boat. When the boat pitched and swayed on the road, it, just about lift the back of the pickup off the ground and throw it around. So the guy came, I guess, with a big van, a commercial van. Mike said it was at least 3/4 ton. The boat is 8.5 feet wide, and it's bigger than the lane, so it's kind of a difficult. On the way out there to the Key Peninsula, there's this little bitty 2-lane bridge, and it is really narrow. So I drove my motorhome across it all the time, and yeah, you want to put the left wheels on the white line. You look in the mirror and make sure you're on the white line, because if you're not, you're in big trouble. All right, back to net, KD7QKU.
I'm actually being seen. There were one too many buttons to push, and I left it on the RF log, which is my still for the evening. Jim, sorry about the situation. I think it has, well, I'm not sure. Wade can, and Carlos can speak to this a lot more than I can, but Wade did ask me to turn up the power on the transmitter a little bit, but what it really needs is some amplification outside of the transmitter. But hopefully I've turned it up enough that you're getting a little bit more. Carlos, I never did say welcome back, and 13 and a half hours, that sounds like India to me. That's the only place I know of that's a half hour out. I see you're nodding. Wow, good luck recovering from that. I mean, the Indian people from India that I worked with, when they would go, they'd go for a month, because they said, it took them about a week just to get, feeling good when they got there, and another week to feel good when they got back. So they took a full month just to have a couple of weeks to spend. What else? The flat Earth. I know a good explanation for the new moon. Only half of it is made of cheese. The other half is not, so it's dark. So when the cheese side is facing us, that's light, that's the full moon, and then otherwise it's dark. So there you go. And my guess for the language, I'm thinking Vikings, maybe Norwegian, but that's the best I can come up with. And your whole ice story, I'm not sure I can believe it, because where are you on the LSD? We'll go with it for now. And I would love to be maritime on Lake Washington. I think that would be a great place to transmit from. I don't really have that option at the moment, but I think that would be fun. And the bucket truck. I'll work on that, Carlos. I'll definitely work on that. Okay, I think that's all I have. Let me just check. Air Force One. Boeing has had their troubles lately. They really don't need to borrow any from Elon. I think let's just let Boeing do what they do. Okay, I'll send it back. K9PQ.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Jim, Greenland language. I saw something on television. They spoke about that. I don't remember what it was. I remember thinking at the time, well, that's a bunch of trivia which I will never need to remember. So it entered my brain and promptly escaped from the other ear at the same time. Carlos, Roger, working on the signal problem to my location. I know I shouldn't say I know, but I believe I can fix the problem with a chainsaw, but I need to wait for my neighbor to go on vacation. Just kidding, people. No letters to me there. But yeah, right in my neighbor's yard, I'm looking through a grove of trees, and there's just no way that I can get around them. And for that matter, I cannot get over them either. So that's kind of the way it's working now. Bob, my signal is better now. It is the video is more on than it is off, but it's not 100% yet. But it's definitely better than it was a little bit ago, anyway. Ron, towing a boat. Yeah, I have a friend who, it was before the pandemic. He was going down I-5. I don't recall anymore if he was in Oregon or California. I think he was somewhere in Oregon. And something happened, He was towing like a house trailer behind his pickup truck, heavy-duty diesel pickup truck, and somehow, I don't remember anymore if he needed to hit the brakes, but it jackknifed and totaled both his truck and his trailer, and they helicoptered my friend and his wife to a hospital. So that's, yeah, towing equipment does have risks, and sometimes it's better to go a little bit slower, but I don't know. Sometimes you just need a bigger vehicle. Oh, and yeah, comments about Air Force One. Yeah, I build it correctly. Don't do it in a hurry. There are some things where it just make sure it's done correctly. That's all. That's my thought on that as well. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
Thanks for that. Let's go to WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Mr. James.
Thank you, Dave. This is WU7N Northeast Bellevue. Carlos gets it, I think. I mean, I'm going to give that to you. It's Greenlandic. And Bob, that's a very good guess, but wrong. Actually, it's a Danish colony, and I guess I would have guessed it was, seeing as how it's a colony of Denmark, that they would speak Danish. But I guess they had a referendum, and since about 50,000 people there speak it, and that's 80-90% of the population, that is their only official language. But Greenlandic, I guess, is an Aleut dialect, and I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this right, but it's Kalaallisut. Kalaallisut is what they call it, but I guess they just call it Greenlandic because it's different enough from Inuktitut, which is up what they speak in northern parts of Canada, and a serious language up there. So I guess if someone from Canada and Greenland have to talk with each other, they're going to have to probably do it in English, because I doubt there's a whole lot of people in northern Canada that speak Danish, although that is in Greenland taught in the schools, as I think I mentioned already. So gosh, if you're a kid in Greenland, you probably have to learn 3 languages, I would guess. Just in case you go back to Europe to visit the relatives, you probably want to speak Danish. And then English to communicate with the rest of the world, and then just around town there, Greenlandic. Good find, finding that video. Yeah, there must be video cameras at every major airport, just looking in all directions, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I would assume at this point it's very cheap to do that. I would see no reason not to. So at least the good news is, hopefully they'll be able to figure out what caused this and make sure it doesn't happen again. But yeah, that video says it all. I don't think very many people walked away from that one. So anyway, also, thanks to the efforts, I don't know if he's listening or not, but Wade and Carlos and Lee and everybody else who's put so much, Bob, put so much time, energy, and effort into moving to digital. It's really very, very clear, and it is cool to see it on streaming. I have an antenna and a dongle, and I can't seem to get it to work right, so I'm ordering a preamp, and I'm also going to see if I can mount the dongle directly on the antenna and then run an extension cord for the USB and see if I can get that to work. Looks like we got 1 minute to the top of the hour, so let's let our net control Dave close out this net tonight. Take it away, Dave.
WU7N, thanks for that. We got your 7-3. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions for our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, signing off the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening, all.